Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Ashley Marshall, an oracle card reader and astrologer. I'm here to do a pick-a-pile reading for you for Sagittarius season. So before we get into the reading, let's talk about the energy, the archetype of Sagittarius, the professor, the traveler, the knowledge seeker, the learner, the philosopher, the sometimes religious one, right? And sometimes it's one of these, sometimes it's a combination or all of these. It's going to manifest for different people differently if you have a Sagittarius sun, right? And then if you have a different placement, say a Sagittarius moon, the way that you best nourish yourself and the way that you find comfort, right, is through Sagittarius things, right? So maybe through teaching, through traveling, right? And it's kind of more long distance travel, but so wherever Sagittarius is in your chart is where you likely have lots of expansion. Sometimes it's where we can go too big. It's where we can go overboard, okay? Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and in ancestral astrology, sometimes Jupiter can tell us where someone has gone overboard in the lineage, okay, where sometimes there has been alcoholism, where that has been inherited. But Sagittarius is also the sign of, and likely the place in our chart where we find lots of joy when we partake in the whatever the house placement it is that rules over. So for me, I have Sagittarius in the 9th house, which is the house that it rules over. And I've always found lots of pleasure and joy through long distance travel and traveling to mostly Europe in my experience, at least thus far. Okay, so very interesting that Sagittarius is related to the holiday season, okay, that we have a holiday season that aligns with, at least here in the United States, with some holidays, and in the Northern Hemisphere, I think, in general, right? Because Sagittarius is celebratory. It wants to have fun. Sometimes it just wants to have fun and it doesn't want to be serious, okay? Or, some of the times the dark side of Sagittarius is they're the know-it-all, right? Can be a little narcissistic. This sign, again, dark side, dark qualities when it's not at its best, right? But after that, maybe more intense, I don't want to say dark, but maybe the more intense season of Scorpio season where we're doing the work, we're facing things. Now Sagittarius season is a little bit about releasing some of that and moving into, celebratory events, celebration, okay? It can be a tense time though, because if we're around people we're not typically around, or there is this pressure to be around people that we don't want to be around, that can feel intense, right? But hopefully we're celebrating with the people we do want to be around. Sagittarius is all about, the good side is about fun. So where can we lean into more joy, pleasure, and fun in our lives? Okay, so let's get into the reading. Okay, we have a pickle-pile reading with one being I'm going to call it the dragon's blood because I think that's what it's called. It's the gray stone with this line of blood through it. All right, then pile 2, we have the green calcite. And then pile 3, we have a black obsidian. And if you want to choose more than one pile, that's fine. Let's get into your Sagittarius season reading. Pile 1, what archetype theme can we be expected to experience to come up for us? Pile 1, dragon's blood, or that we might have to watch out for this season of life. Okay, this is an archetype card. Okay, the beggar. The light attributes of the beggar is that the archetype confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival. It awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. The shadow attribute of the beggar, dependence on others to the exclusion of effort, right? So if you're always falling in the trap of needing, okay, but the light attributes confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. I don't know why I felt called to read that again. So this season, I feel like this pile may be finding that they are contributing to society, donating, offering their help, maybe finances, money, okay? That you might find yourself giving to others, donating your time to others, okay? Donating to more people who need your time, who could use help, gifts this holiday season, okay? So I'm seeing a more like a conscious effort to give, to volunteer. Okay, I see this pile volunteering during this time. And then there's also, you know, the shadow attribute that is coming forth with this pile. It feels like there may be some shame that comes up on dependency that you have had, some codependency in some relationships that you haven't really wanted to deal with. And you may see yourself dealing with a conversation about other people's money in some way, or it's you kind of facing the shame of past dependence. Okay, but it kind of feels more present. I feel for like more of you who chose this pile, it's more about you're still learning how to end your dependence. Maybe some of you are starting to, okay? All right, so pile 1, you also got number 16 in the numerology cards, rebirth. Okay, so very interesting because rebirth is usually typically associated with the last season, right? Scorpio season. So it's interesting because I wanted to say in this card, I feel like, because this too, just this, the image, but also obviously, you know, maybe more, you know, this idea of the shadow attribute being around dependence on others, that's a very 8th house Scorpio thing, right? Because the 8th house rules over other people's money. And so when I saw this, I should have just said it. Part of me wanted to say, not really done with what the shadow work that you were doing in Scorpio season seems to, you know, maybe when you heard me say like, okay, Scorpio season's dark and Sagittarius season's going to be fun and joyful, I think some of you are bringing more of that work into what you're doing now, meaning you're, sorry, I got distracted by James. Okay, now he's comfortable. Yeah, you're still in it. You're still in the heaviness of Scorpio season, so maybe it doesn't feel so light and bright right now because you're experiencing a rebirth, and what happens before a rebirth? Some sort of death, right? So it might feel uncomfortable because you're still going through this. You know, a lot of people maybe experience their transitions and rebirths happening during Scorpio season. You're still going through this huge transformation, or you're going through a huge transformation, and like, it's following you into this season, and it feels spiritual, okay? Scorpio season, at least here where I am in the United States, or excuse me, Sagittarius season revolves around what happens, you know, we celebrate, right? We celebrate religious holidays, right? Not, you know, all of them are doing Sagittarius season, but it's the entrance into it. So it feels like a spiritual change, a spiritual rebirth, which also feels like monetary, and it feels like there's this detachment that you are experiencing from someone else's care of you, from their resources, from their money. You're really being asked to, you know, trust from spirit, from your ancestors, from guides, you're really being asked to trust this transformation, right? And that you're cared for, right? There's abundance on the other side, okay? But it feels like spiritual, financial. It feels like a detachment of sorts from someone else. Okay, you also got full moon, which is the full moon can be very illuminating, right? It can show us something that we need to know about moving forward, okay? There's this sure ending and death, right, with the full moon before the rebirth, okay? Something is learned, something is illuminated, something comes to light, and maybe what you're learning that you have this attachment. But I'm kind of feeling like you already learned that a while ago, and you've been going through this, and like it's achy and it's uncomfortable, but you're going to experience rebirth during Sagittarius season, okay? You also got eagle, see from a higher perspective. Didn't mean to do that, sorry. Eagles, see from a higher perspective. So there may be this association with birds. You may be seeing eagles if you're in an area to see them, or seeing them in media, right? It doesn't have to be like a live eagle. But you're being asked from spirit, from your guides, from your ancestors, to see the end game of this discomfort, of this experience of being rebirthed, right? Of kind of letting things die and shut off and change in your world, right? See, they're kind of, asking you, and maybe this sounds generic, but like to see that there is an end game to this. There is something to be learned from this. There is a new you that is coming from this rebirth. And so that's what like the higher purpose and the higher perspective is of it all, right? When we're looking at our life from a higher perspective, from a bird's eye view, from far away, it's easier to see how it's also small and insignificant and not to dwell, right? You also got snake spirit, take time to heal. Yeah, so you're not through. Kind of what I said was like, yeah, Sagittarius season is joyful. Well, it may not feel really joyful for you. And by the way, the snake spirit is number 55, which in numerology, blah, blah, not this deck, but in some people's view and system of numerology, 5 represents big change. And the more 5s there are, the stronger the energy is for change. Okay, so we got 2 5s with the snake spirit. Okay, so really you're being called on by spirit, by your ancestors, by your guides, like actually take this downtime, actually heal, actually get support, actually cry, actually take baths, actually journal, go to therapy, take your supplements. There feels like there's been like a lack of nourishment kind of in this group, is what I'm getting and hearing. And don't worry, like it happens to everybody, but there's like, for some reason there's a lack of care, and so like spirit, ancestors, God, guides want you to get back into healing, nourishing. Okay. Taking the time to really like let the wound heal. It's like you have a gash in your leg and you've been walking around with it wide open, and like the sun is burning it and the wind is getting it and there's dirt in it, and it's like the same thing goes for our spiritual wounds, for our emotional wounds. The shame, I feel like it's a lot of healing from shame in this group. Self-forgiveness, I feel like there's been some hiding. It does feel very financial, okay? But we also got Aphrodite, inner goddess, so awaken the goddess within you through dance, self-care, and appreciating your divinity, right? So it's it says this rebirth, it said it was going to be, or it came through that it was spiritual, like a spiritual rebirth. So it's like getting back in touch with your spiritual rituals and practices. And if you've never had any, like getting some, right? Or adding more if the ones that you normally do just aren't hitting right anymore, right? Okay? And appreciating your divinity, that you are part of the divine, right? You also got Ishtar, boundaries, love yourself enough to say no to others, demands on your time and energy. Yeah, this pile kind of really felt like it was kind of other associated, right? You're receiving from others, giving to others. And so really making sure to exercise those boundaries and appreciate others' boundaries and respect others' boundaries, okay? But it feels like not having the boundaries, the lack of boundaries, is what's been getting in the way of the self-care and the healing, right? I feel like also part of like the fun, the Sagittarius joy and fun for this pile is maybe going on a retreat, a healing retreat, retreat with women, retreat in the woods, retreat in the mountains. That just came out. So you got artist, creativity. Yeah, and Venus and Aphrodite is related to Venus, so that's why I'm saying Venus is all about getting in touch with the things that we find pleasurable, and getting back in touch with the artist within is what's coming through here. Your ancestral, your like affinity ancestors, the ancestors that you have things in common with, are encouraging you to get back in touch with your creative pursuits and endeavors, okay? You know, Sagittarius is very playful and joyful, so what makes you feel playful and joyful, right? What did you do as a youth? We're a teen, too, right? We're always talking about the child within, but what about the teen within, right? You may see that you're getting, back in touch with creative pursuits, that you're spending more time outside and in touch with your art, right? Or connected to your art, making art. Okay, you also got earth, home. So you might be spending lots of time reconnecting with the land. Yeah, and it's funny because when I said you were outside, I was like, well, what about the weather? But there's something about like you being outside and getting reconnected with the earth. Like she's painting the scenery of the earth. You're touching the earth. You're, you know, I know it's not really growing season anywhere, but it feels like there's something going on with this group in the land. You're still like harvesting or connecting, working in the yard in some way, right? Still taking walks. Still feels necessary for this pile to like really, even though like the season may not call for it, I guess is what I'm saying, but to connect with the earth in some small way each day anyway, if you can. Wow. This pile also got pile number 1. You got another eagle, okay, so one here, see from a higher perspective, and another one is vision, yeah. So really I'm getting the message for this pile too. It's all about your perspective, and that you create your own vision, and the thoughts that you have affect how you look at your life and the perspective you have, right? And you're really going to notice that this season of life, and you might really shift your perspective and also your vision about like your purpose and who you want to be and what brings you joy might be shifting and changing. Okay, you also got squirrel preparation. Get ready for big changes. Wow. Wow. We have the double 5, rebirth, And big changes, squirrel. Okay, so definite huge rebirth, transformations, shifts, changing things, changing for this pile. And so with a lot of change sometimes comes discomfort, right? So if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling like you're still going through the healing of the last season and this growth spurt, right, this is total validation on that. Okay, so I feel like, yeah, your vision is going through changes, like how you find joy in the world. Yes, and you also got 12th house. We talked about how this rebirth is very spiritual, and that you might go on a retreat or you might do some like meditative thing. That's very 12th house, okay? And it's also like perspective, thoughts, beliefs, what's going on in your head, right? Emotionally in your head, if that makes sense, right? Mentally, your mental state too could be seeing some sort of shift. And this really, I said earlier, like talking to a therapist, any of those things can be really helpful for this pile. And it totally makes sense now that the 12th house is coming up, because that's ruled by Pisces and it's all about mental health, and sometimes even like going away to take care of your mental health, or if you're not going to go away or can't go away or don't want to go away, you know, bringing those mental health resources to you, like online therapy, right? Let's pick a love card for this group. Express love through gifts. A small token of love can convey great appreciation. Yeah, so again, going back to this, the beggar card, I really see you being a very giving person this season, doing lots of gift giving, maybe donating your time or donating gifts this season. Yeah, and so that's what I see for you. I would love to hear from you. Like, comment, subscribe. If this resonates for you for this upcoming season, if you feel like that discomfort of going through big changes, okay, again, these big changes feel like they're going to be very revealing, and that they're going to have to do with your spirituality, right? How you see things spiritually, your mental health, your thought process, and it seems like there's still lots of healing for you to do. Let me grab my self-care deck, because, well, before that, let's get a tarot angel card for just a little bit more about what's coming for you this season. Ace of Fire, an exciting new opportunity, career advancement, change your life now. Okay, so when change is coming, right, get ready for big changes. Squirrel's all about preparation. Like, we need to prepare. We need to get ourselves right mentally, which is 12th house stuff. So preparing for that change, okay, and how can we best do that? So let's look at the self-care cards and see, like, what would be really nourishing for you, pile one. Soak in a bath. Okay, I love this. And this also kind of feels like being in or near water. I was actually thinking of taking a bath earlier and I chose this pile. How funny. Also energetically cleansing and like salt baths can be very helpful for you. Going to hot springs, visiting hot springs, traveling to hot springs, okay, might be something that you find yourself doing this season, or a bathhouse, some sort of spa, maybe you'll go float, okay, and these are all things that are going to help you spiritually, help you heal, and kind of be that retreat that you really want, need, and is calling to you this season. All right, pile one. Thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe if it resonated. And we'll move on to pile two. All right, so pile two, Sagittarius season theme you will be dealing with, the archetype you will be dealing with is the seeker, okay? The light attribute of the seeker is they have a thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. The shadow attribute is that they have an inability to commit to a path once found. Wow. Okay, so this pile might see something that's really coming up for healing, and maybe already was during Scorpio season, is this pile has a tendency, to waffle, to not choose a path. But you're so interested, right? You love knowledge. Look at them seeking and going the distance, right? And Sagittarius season is all about that. Loves knowledge, loves to learn about different cultures sometimes. And it doesn't always mean that all Sagittarius are into reading, right? It's about like collecting knowledge in whatever area you're interested in it. Okay? Because you could have a sun in Sagittarius in the second house, and it's someone who's really loves financial information, versus sun in Sagittarius in the fourth house, and they're really into ancestry, right? So it's not always going to be the same kind of knowledge. Just wanted to put that out there. But yeah, so this pile seems like you're ready to be the teacher, but you're continuously still being the student, which is fine. But you're really being called on in this season to be the teacher, which is we're in the season of the teacher. We're in the season of the professor. We're in the season of the one who shares the knowledge, who gifts the knowledge to others. Okay, so this season you may find yourself being called to hone in a specific path and in one direction and go in that direction. All right. You also got 56 from the numerology card, and it says relationship change. Okay, so those of you who picked this pile might see that the aspect of your life that is experiencing more joy and expansion is your relationship. It could also mean that someone in the relationship is like going all in, is too much, maybe too much of a partier. Maybe you're the partier and the other partner doesn't like it. That could be the shift, the change, or the thing that's coming up and being asked for healing, right? Or for focus, right? So definitely a relationship, like an adjustment, okay? And it could be something that's just like a natural progression. It doesn't necessarily mean a breakup. It could be, or it could be something is changing with someone that you're in a relationship with, and it doesn't have to be just a romantic relationship, okay? And remember, a relationship change can be good, right? It can mean that there's growth, okay, right? Change is part of the natural rhythms and cycle and of life. It's what's inevitable, okay? Could be like a partner's changing a job, right? So, and it could just be, like I said, a big life change that affects you, okay? You also got island detachment from the messages from Spirits of Nature Oracle, and I'm being called to read out of the book for this one. Yeah, so this can come up when you're feeling distant or removed from others, lonely, alienated, okay? Maybe you're keeping your distance or you feel like others are keeping their distance. But it feels more like the people in this group feel like more protected when they remain withdrawn and isolated, all right? And there could be this real deep hunger for connection, and the people in this pile, as opposed to going out in their community and getting more close and connected with people, they are leaning more into like their addictions or the things that are not great for them. Okay, there's like a fear holding this pile back from getting more involved, right? and you're being called to reach out to others, to contact people, to renew attachments. Wow, that just hit very personally for me, and I also chose this pile too, because I always choose more than one, but yeah, so like this card, detachment, is all about attachment, and you're being called to your attachments, and you're being reminded that the maladaptive things, you know, the television, the drugs, the food, the gossiping is not going to fill the void of real close bonds and relationships. Wow. So that's really coming in. And all the knowledge that you seek kind of out on your own. You're being asked to learn in community. Get together with others, okay? You also got the ascendant, okay, so the rising sign, so wherever your first house is. So this season you might be kind of stepping out. You might be seeing more. There might be lots of opportunities for first impressions, okay? You might be kind of seeing a shift in your identity, seeing a shift in how you present yourself to others and how others see you. Okay, you might also experience a physical change like a haircut, hair dye, braces on or off, tanning, you know, anything, any kind of physical change you might see or feel drawn to or called to put in motion. Okay. You also got Capricorn, so I'm kind of feeling like this is like how you're being seen in the business world. There also may be more focus on work, okay, on making things more stable, all right. And also, yeah, kind of being that person that is more social and kind of invites people over, has gatherings. I kind of feel like, I mean, I know it's like Gemini and Sagittarius too, but I think at least some Capricorns I know, or some Capricorn energy feels like, I don't know what the right word is, not joining energy, but like the energy of wanting to bring others together is what I want to say. Also got easy does it. There's no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything is occurring in perfect timing. Okay, this is great to come up with Capricorn, because Capricorn also is about like going slow, making sure things are in order, because it is ruled by Saturn, which wants structure and to kind of take our time, which doesn't feel like this pile's strong suit. Feels like they want to do anything but, okay? But you're really putting in like that focus and that structure and time into something, it feels like, all right? Also got Seal, immerse yourself in artistic and creative expression, okay? So you might be just having more fun with your art, right? And again, art doesn't have to be paintings on a wall. Art can be many different things. Okay, so whatever your art is, right? If you love working on cars, like that's your art, right? Fixing a car is your finished work of art. It's your creative expression, maybe, right? Okay. You also got White Raven, Spirit, Trust in the Magic. Okay. There feels like, you know, along with Sagittarius season, right? Sagittarius rules over faith. Where can we recommit to faith in ourselves? All right. Faith in where we're going. Okay. Part of the way that happens is us seeking knowledge and working hard, right? And tapping into our creative expression. But some of that is just trusting in the unknown. and the magic. You also got animal, instinct from the ancestor cards, so really leaning into your inner knowing this season. So trusting in the unknown, but then also trusting in your knowing. Okay, it's a fine balance. Okay, you're going to be listening to your instincts, to your body a lot more this season, I'm feeling. What else do we have? What do we have from the Angel Tarot deck? Got the Empress. Okay, lavish abundance, give birth to your dreams, nurture yourself and others. Okay, so yeah, really feels like you're kind of this season stepping into your own kind of, it's like this boss bitch or boss brat, boss energy, whatever. And yeah, there's also like give birth to your dreams. There's this recommitment to something bigger, and maybe it comes with this relationship change. All right. And I think there's also some recommitments to relationship, or recommitment to the understanding that you need attachments, that you need love, that you need people and your people. Or maybe you haven't found like you don't feel like you found your people. So committing to that new search. So it feels like purpose, space, and relationship. Purpose and relationship feel like the biggest themes for this pile 2. Okay, simple acts of kindness. Kindness energizes you and brings happiness to those around you. I love that. Look, surrounded by animals, surrounded by deer, fox, all these things, surrounded by animals, surrounded by deer, fox. So I feel like this pile is really connected to animals. Maybe is really attuned with animals. We'll be seeing lots of wild animals, fox and deer and elk and possum and skunk and squirrels. You might be spending lots of time like kind of in solitude in the woods, but I feel like it's going to help you recommit to your dreams. Okay? And like look at the joy that they get to from nurturing, like they're nurturing their animals. They're nurturing themselves and then they're nurturing the animals. Okay? And I love like the focus and the look of these two animals is that they're focused but they're calm. So I see a recommitment to dreams, a real focus and hard work and structure coming into it, but a patience with it, right? Capricorn's good side of Capricorn is that they usually can put in the time and be pretty patient, right? They're Saturn ruled. Saturn takes time. They're okay taking time. Okay, you're restructuring your image and who you're showing to your world, showing how you're showing yourself to the world, and you're also experiencing like big relationship changes, right? And there's this huge call, like there's this huge feel in this pile of loneliness and this call to find your people. How do I find my people? Let's see. Self-care card is telling us to drink tea, and by that really feels like to me that's like have a sacred ritual and commitment to yourself. And during it, put out say your affirmations and ask your ancestors and spirit guides for what you want. If you want a community, I mean, there's a lot more to it than that. And, it's not like I have all the answers, but what's coming through is taking time to get quiet clarity on who you are and who you want to be around and call them in, right? It's not just about tea. She's got crystals. Her eyes are closed, like she feels like she's in ceremony. Create a spiritual ritual for yourself to call in the things that you want. And the more that you're living the life of this sounds weird, but like live the life of the people that you want to call in. Right? Does that make sense? Do the things now that you would want to do with them. And you're calling in their energy that way. I don't know if that makes sense. And yeah, have a meditative, affirmative, breath work, whatever feels good kind of practice that calls in this new community, these new relationships that you want, and this recommitment to your dreams, right? Part of this ritual, this tea ceremony, is about recommitting to your dreams, because I feel like there's this other work going on, but if you have this day, this hour, this time that you commit to your dream job, right? You're just so much more joyful, and you're so much more closer to the whole dream job being the job. That just felt like it was coming through. Okay, pile 2. My lovely pile 2. Thank you. We're going to move on to pile 3, black obsidian. All right, so what's the archetype that pile 3, black obsidian, is going to be dealing with this Sagittarius season? What do they need to look out for? Okay, pile 3, you got Avenger. The light attributes of the Avenger is that they desire to balance the scales of justice. They are righteous on behalf of society or on themselves. Their shadow attribute is that they resort to violence in the name of a cause. Okay? So maybe you've been dealing with lots of issues of balance and justice. Maybe this pile has been really, I hate to say caught up in, because it's normal to be, but like caught up in what's going on in the world, the woes of the world and of society. Maybe you're going through your own legal battle, or battle where you're having to fight someone or defend yourself, or protect yourself, where you're really just wanting justice. You feel like there is no justice. Maybe the people in this pile, feels like the energy is that, like, yeah, you've taken on a lot of this energy of like, this isn't right. And that's so funny. Feels like Avenger energy, but also like Mother Mary energy, always caretaking. Okay, that's cool. Expect a miracle. Your prayers have been answered. Maybe we'll see what that's about. And maybe there's a miracle coming, right? This, what you prayed on with this legal battle, or this area of your life where you've been really wanting justice is coming, is what I am getting. Okay. As long as you didn't resort to violence. As long as you didn't lower yourself, right? And I feel like there's been a lot of like biting your tongue, gritting your teeth, all of these things because of this. Yeah, it feels like a lawsuit or a legal battle, or just some part of your life where there's injustice, and because you've been able to kind of stand strong and not resort to violence, not because of, right? Some people resort to violence and they have to, and it's not like a bad thing. They're physically protecting themselves. But it feels like you played it cool, calm, and collective, so you will receive the outcome that is deserving for you. And it's interesting that this pile picked black obsidian is all about danger, protection from dark spirits and things like that. And I feel like this pile has been in a place of receiving dark energy and negative things. And it doesn't mean you're going to forever, but you just have been, right? Dark energy from this person suing you or whatever. This person who's done you wrong, okay? Or this injustice happening. Also got the world. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Excuse me. Also got the world, pile 3, Archangel Michael. A job well done, joy, contentment, and gratitude, the path toward enlightenment. Okay, so yeah, I feel like it's like a big win. It's like you've received justice. The outcome for you has been good. And this whole path toward enlightenment, I mean, that's very Sagittarian themed, right? The philosopher, the one trying to look for enlightenment through religion and things like that, right? Maybe not the philosopher, but it's like you've learned something from this battle. You've learned something deeply from this injustice, and it's going to change you and bring you, toward like understanding in a way that you never have before. Okay, you also got 11, individuality. Okay, so this path may also have put you in a place where you're kind of been going at it alone, this injustice, like, because you've realized, like, okay, if other people don't see this as wrong, like, they're not my people. Okay. You also got antelope, decisiveness, make a decision and take appropriate action. Interesting. Yeah, so since we're talking about balance and decisions and justice and one thing weighing another, maybe maybe there's a decision that needs to be made, right? I don't know what else I want to say about that yet. It doesn't feel like it's coming forward yet, so we'll move on. But there feels like a decision needs to be made, or you're waiting. Yeah, you're waiting for a decision to be made. You're waiting for the outcome. Which way are the court's going to rule? And this could be actually like courts and how they're going to rule, or it could be like not so direct and actual. Do you know what I mean? The friend group is deciding like who they believe, and you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a real court system, but it's kind of set up that way. Your ancestors want you to breathe, okay? Take a breath, air. You might be called to breath work around this time. Feels like there might have been lots of gossip about you, too, with the air card coming up. Because of this, could be a lawsuit or whatever is going on, so lots of gossip, and so lots of like energy clearing from you and detaching yourself from these things, because not everybody knows all the facts, right? And new moon, after all this justice and decision making and weighing and everything, new beginnings. Okay, I love this. A new fresh start. It feels like you're starting over alone, so it could be you could be going through a breakup or a divorce. Okay. Let's see what else the ancestors have to say. Yeah, you're like moving out on your own. Maybe you're still making that decision whether or not to. But you feel like it could be a business partnership, romantic partnership, it could be a roommate. Like there's been some injustice and you need to make the decision whether or not you're going to leave or stay. Right? And it feels like you can't let go of how unjust this was. How unfair, how wrong. Ancestors are validating the experience, asking you to breathe through it, and letting you know that there are new, fresh starts and beginnings coming, that you can be out on your own if you need to. Okay? You can be that strong individual. Have faith. Right? A miracle, a fresh start, a new beginning is coming. Okay, if you're still in this period where like you're choosing whether or not like should I resort to violence, and it's not just like resort to violence, it's resort to going below the belt, it's handling this injustice a way in which you would not feel good about or would have a good outcome for you, is what I'm getting. You also got Sun. Enjoy success and happiness. Yes, let this, if it's over, whatever this injustice is, maybe you were in court, maybe you were getting in divorce court, maybe you were like broke up a bad partnership or whatever. Like if it's over, move into this place of happiness. And if not, you're gonna be. You got new fresh start, new beginnings, and Sagittarius season of joy and happiness is actually feels like it really is gonna turn out to be that for you. But let this be over. Okay? Let this be over. Let the outcome be what it was gonna be. All right, let's get into some other cards and move on from this experience is what I'm hearing. You also got dolphin, listening. So I feel like, yeah, with the air, there felt like lots of gossip about you. And now I feel like you've heard a lot of it. Transmute it, meaning like turn it into joy. Be playful, turn it into fun. You know it's not true. You know that they have it wrong. Okay. You also got forest, diversity. So you might have to really be diverse in your approach of how you move on and what you bring in to heal. Okay? But having the sun and then this shining light just feels like you're going to have a moment this season. This is your moment this season to step into your individuality. Like to step into who you are, your purpose. Like things have had to be on the back burner because of this injustice, and now you get to move forward, shine in the light, be your bright, beautiful, beaming self. Did I already do those? Yeah, I already did those cards. Whoops. What else do we have? Pile 3. Butterfly spirit transformation is beautiful. Yeah, you're transforming into this individual who's doing it on their own with, new beginnings and a fresh new start, and you just have so much support and excitement from your ancestors to go forth. Okay. Do another astrology card and see what we got. Why do I feel like... Oh, it's over here. Okay. Now I made a mess of things. Oh, well. I was forgetting what the archetype was, right? And it may be that you're transforming, you're moving into this place in your life where you're no longer the only person, the only one who has to caretake for all the, people looking for justice. Sun, again, sun, shining in the sun and basking in the light, okay, is going to be a real part of your Sagittarius season. Like you're really stepping out. This is your season to be seen, to shine bright, to recommit to your purpose is what's really coming through and what I'm hearing. Okay, and then you got Leo, which rules over the sun, right? And so Leo's also a fire sign similar to Sagittarius, right? And it really highlights you stepping out, you being seen, but also this playful energy. Like, where can you bring joy and play back into your life and day? Okay? Let's get into a self-care card. You, pile 3, black obsidian, you protectors. This energy was, felt like it was heavy because you were in this battle, or something, right? Battle for justice. But you will come out of it, right? Joy, contentment, a job well done. I think you're going to come out of it on top. And you are also being called to connect with your ancestors, okay? In ritual, in prayer, in whatever way that you feel called to. You might feel the voice of your ancestors a little bit more loudly now, right? They tend to come out a little bit during Libra season, get really loud during Scorpio season, and I think, you can always strengthen it, and it can be loud during any season, but I think it continues to be loud when we go within during a colder season. Okay. Anyway, that's all that's coming up for pile 3. Thank you so much for watching your Pickle Pile reading for Sagittarius season. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe. I love to hear from you. And yes, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.